They've staked a claim to thousands of acres of what were sandbars and reefs. They've used sophisticated equipment like these ships, pumping sand through those thin tubes to create islands. Then they built airfields with towering radar stations, constructed ports, deployed weapons there, even built barracks. China's military buildup of these islands in the South China Sea has angered the Obama administration. The U.S. has sent ships and planes very near the islands, sometimes drawing Chinese warnings.
This is the Chinese Navy. This is the Chinese Navy. Please go away quickly.
Tonight, a government-run Chinese newspaper is warning of a possible war with the U.S. over the man-made islands. It's spurred by this comment from Secretary of State nominee Rex Tillerson at his confirmation hearings.
We're going to have to send China a clear signal that first, the island building stops, and second, your access to those islands is also not going to be allowed.
The Chinese newspaper says, quote, unless Washington plans to wage a large-scale war in the South China Sea, then trying to block China's access to the islands would be, quote, foolish. And Tillerson had better bone up on nuclear power strategies if he wants to force a big nuclear power to withdraw from its own territories. Pentagon officials tonight are calling on China to reduce tensions. How could the U.S. deny China access to those islands? If the U.S. wanted to deny access, how would they do it?
Well, presumably you would want to start with a naval blockade. That's what people would think, Cuban Missile Crisis in the modern era. But this is a lot of space to cover. I would assume that you're talking about blocking access to the 7 islands that China occupies here in the Spratlys, out of these dozens. You'd also have to deal with their air capabilities. This is not just a naval blockade. China has 4 different airstrips built on the largest of the islands out there. They have hangar space for a full regiment of fighter aircraft at each one of these. That's an awful lot of capability. And finally, this is not without cost. These are not defenseless features. What you're looking at here are advanced air defense and anti-missile systems. This is an anti-aircraft gun.
Tonight, analysts are worried about escalation.
The biggest fear is of accidental conflict, The South China Sea, even under the best possible set of circumstances, is going to get more crowded and more contentious. There are going to be more commercial ships in the area, and there are going to be more military assets